Hey, hey, what's up today? What's up today? I hope everyone is having a wonderful and beautiful time. Y'all go ahead and shout out some of your cities. Let's see who's in the room. Who's in the room? Don't forget to like and share. And please don't forget to comment because we love your comments. Instagram, I see you. I see you. Who is in the room, in the space? What's up, fam? What's up, fam? Yes, yes. Awesome. We see you, brother. Everybody sees. Mr. Christopher is in the room. Thank you, sir, for tapping in and tuning in every week. Thank you so much. Miss Dolores. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. We thank you for tapping in and tuning in. And of course, here we go. None other than my brother, Mr. Ruben. Woo! It's so awesome. Oh, hey, Miss Thana. Yes, this is going to be great. You guys are going to, this is going to be so wonderful. Mr. John Thomas, I'm sorry. Mr. John Thomas, Mr. Absolute Love, humanitarian. One of these days, you're going to have to come online and explain to everybody what a humanitarian is. Miss Holly, wonderful. So beautiful to have you. 100%. Yes, Miss Velma. It's beautiful. Mr. Keith, all the way from Los Angeles. Everybody welcome Mr. Keith to the room. Yes, sir. Most deaf. This is going to be beautiful. You guys are going to love tonight's show. I promise you. What we do is we try to bring value. Like, we bring value. This is Mental Health Month. Instagram, I see you. I'm going to flip you guys around. This is kind of a official month for mental health. And so we're gonna just open up and we're gonna have a conversation, about mental health. And I think there's going to be some great things that come out in the sense of this conversation related to things about mental health that you don't know, maybe you never heard of. Just even understanding what it is, because you hear the word, the buzzword, and you hear it a lot, and it doesn't necessarily, sometimes you can hear stuff over and over again, and it all of a sudden it doesn't necessarily like mean anything. You know how when we went through COVID and you hear about the people dying, but it almost reached the point where when it just, we kind of become numb, if you will, to the fact that it's like people are going through something and we just kind of blocked it out. And so with mental health, I believe it's kind of the same thing where we're now having the discussion and the conversation about it and understanding what it is and the differences between mental health and just general mental health and then mental illness. And ultimately, just how we can succeed in life, how we can understand ourselves. And in today's conversation, I would like to open up the conversation by just understanding what it means to be authentic, if you will. And the other thing is what we all may be going through or experiencing. So to be our authentic self, we also may have to look at the side we don't want to look at, the shadow. Anybody out there with me? Most of the people that tap in and tune in to me and this have a degree of understanding of who they may be, right? Most people are not fresh and just waking up in the world of spirituality, in the world of church, in the world of religion, in the world of even personal development. But we looking to go deeper and wider. We looking to have community. We're looking to connect. and also understand that I believe that there's modalities, and when I say modalities, there's methods, there's ways that we can use no different than we use food to nourish our body. And if we go plant-based, we have a consciousness. The expansion of consciousness is already expanded. So when we say expanding consciousness, it's already technically expanded where we, in spirit, everything is. But where we are, it's like we feel like we're opening up and we're expanding out. But I really believe it's already there and we're uncovering it like a lottery ticket. And we finding something out. Nope, wrong. Uncovering like, nope, wrong. Right. But we have to be willing to scratch the ticket. Anybody with me? Some of you guys probably didn't understand that because I grew up so Pentecostal and so holiness that a lottery ticket was like wrong. And when I was real young, like it was everybody wanted to win some money, but they of course didn't want to play. Some people probably did, but when you scratching that lottery ticket, you don't know if you're going to win or not. And that's, to me, it's like that's the vision I have when it comes to, as we are uncovering our layers of who we are and the consciousness. It's some things I think are original, but in spirit, in essence, it's already there within us. What you desire, what you want, wants you. So, for this conversation today, I would like to prepare you guys, and I want you guys to prepare your own selves, being able to open up and allow for this to resonate with your heart. Because one of the things about community, even though we may have 15 or 20 people gathered on this conversation, everybody's real people. Every last one of you is a real person. And sometime what I understand is when you start getting in the hundreds and hundreds, you just performing. A lot of people begin to perform. And what I don't want to do is perform. I want to be authentic. I want to be open. I want to be real. At the same time, I want to do a good job and have some sense of organization. So if you have questions this evening, please post them. And if you are a expanded conscious family, you've been here and riding with me since the Carlton Pearson days. New people come into the room. If you feel the need, you can welcome them. So today, we have a featured guest that is someone that is actually a part of the community. And what means more to me than anything is to give voice to this community, give voice to you. And your gifts, the gifts that you have right now, are important for the progression of us, the world. Untold stories are untold stories, but it is the stories, it is the books, it is the things that you read, it's the things that you hear, it's the things that you begin to understand as we learn that helps us shift, right? And I believe the people that are tapping in and tuning into this early right now, I believe these are some of the special people to me. You guys are special because you're hanging in there, you're with us, you're with me, and I believe you have gifts. But today we have Miss Dorothy W. Parker, PhD, by the way. Even though she has MA on the book, her education runs deep. Her knowledge and understanding and her experience, we may discuss some of that. But I really would like to allow the spirit to work and allow us to connect, all of us to be able to connect and drop down and not be too heady, if you will. And before I bring her on, is everybody kind of set the intention on this evening? I know you had most likely had a day. Hopefully, it was a good day, but you had a day. And I was talking to a friend earlier, took him some product, some CBD product. And it's so interesting when you deal with the general public and we understand spirituality, we understand religion, we understand spirit, especially in this community. But when you deal with the general public and people that are not connected to their spirit, let's start level one. We're not even going to go through spirituality and religion, just connecting to the spirit. Guys, we struggle, humans can struggle just being spirit, let alone the other modalities, let alone the other things, spirituality, then dealing with religion. Some people just cast off religion, like, oh my God. So if they cast off religion, they cast off spirituality. Therefore, they casting off their own spirit and their own divineness and their intuition, canceling it. And so I had a friend that was that's dealing with different things in embodying, dealing with body. Anybody that's dealing with a health issue right now, I promise you, there's things that you can do in spirit that can actually begin to help you. 100% letting go and understanding. But anyway, Miss Dorothy Parker, she has numerous books. We're going to discuss it. I love the fact that she has begun to just pour her heart, deep dialogue practice. This is the practice log book for deep dialogue. We may go through some of these, right? We'll save it for later. How to get spiritually unstuck. We're going to save that for later. But you know, I would like everyone, of course, 100% to say hello and welcome to the stage, Miss Dorothy.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Dare I say,
From this
doctor?
perspective,
Doctor.
Dorothy is perfectly acceptable.
Well, the thing
Thank God.
is that's so good that you say that, because what happens is I know that a lot of people, it goes a lot into the name and things of that nature. But
Yeah.
also, I believe that it states a little bit about what you've been through, states
Yeah.
about what you've been through, it states about like who you are and what you are about, and I think it's important, especially when it comes to expertise. So the first thing I want to just say is, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. I'm nervous because this is my first live ever in my life. I have done some YouTube videos and things like that, but I've never gone live. So this is my first time. So I'm leaning on you to guide me through all this. And hello to everyone in the chat. It is so good to see you tonight. I'm in the chat too, but I just wanted to say hey back.
Yes, yes, yes. I hope your peoples are showing up. Got to have
My
your
son
people
is in
showing up.
there. Jeremy is my son, and
All
Trevor
right.
Jent is my nephew, godson.
Beautiful.
So my people are in there.
Absolutely.
Chris Wilson, my sister-in-law, just jumped in. Hey, Chris. She is a author as well, Malachi. She wrote Authentically You by Christine Wilson. She is awesome. She was my inspiration to get me started writing.
We're going
So
to get
yeah,
into it. We're going to get into it.
yeah,
Allow this particular show, connecting to spirit and connecting to, um, I do so much study that I don't, that all of a sudden we can do so much study that we can just not allow spirit to work also, and what
yes,
people
yes.
may need, right? um we understand that, I understand that what people are going through, but possibly, but the biggest thing too is allowing it to work in our gifts. Like, you have a gift of writing, let's just say it, you
Thank
have a
you.
gift of writing.
Thank you.
When did that journey begin?
Whew. Um, I have to say I've been writing all my life. As a child, I used writing as a tool for escape. I also used it as a way of interacting with a world that I wasn't allowed to be in because of religion. Um, and so my writing kind of gave me an outlet. Um, but I actually started to put it into practice in 2010, I believe it was. I told you about a book that I wrote that I'm not very proud of, Divine Acceptance, but that was to me like a mind shift. It was a move that allowed me to feel confident to start writing. So from there, it took me probably about another few years or more to start writing again. But this space that I'm in now happened because of a shift in my consciousness that am I still talking?
Yes,
You
go
can
right
hear me?
ahead. Keep
Oh,
going. Go with the flow.
okay. So let me introduce myself just a little bit. Of course, my name is Dorothy, and Dorothy means gift of God. I'm trying to relax myself, but Dorothy means gift of God. I'm also a cosmically connected. I'm an Aquarius, and so that tells you a lot about me right there.
Been there. Don't you
Um,
have a book about that?
I do have a book called "The Aquarian Age."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awakening the Aquarian Age. Yeah.
It's like playing flashcards.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I am the mother of two beautiful adult children. I have a son and a daughter. So I have one of each of humanity's species. I also
Mm,
have two grandchildren, a son,
mm.
a grandson, and a granddaughter. So I was blessed again. And I have a very large family. So I began my experience with writing, I would say honestly, probably about 50 years ago. Of course, I'm telling my age now. So I don't want y'all
What's
to think,
that?
what's my age?
What's
You want
age?
me to tell you my age?
Age? No, but it's just age.
Let's
It's
let's let's get the audience interacting. How do you all think that I am?
ha 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 ha. I mean, do you want them to say it and be like,
Yeah, say
maybe
it.
we
I'm not.
shouldn't?
No, I'll tell them what my real age is because one thing about it is I'm very proud of my life and the journey that it took for me to get where I am. And so every day, every hour, every minute is a testimony to my experience of living. And
Man.
so by telling my age, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Not at all. Somebody said 55. Thank you. 60. Thank you. Beautiful. Family, don't chat, don't get in because we don't want 45. I'll take that. So anyway, so I'm the type of person that I like to just talk off the cuff.
Keep
You
going.
know, and like you said, I have a lot of experience, and sometimes I have too much experience that I don't know where to begin it all. But I will say my spiritual journey, I was born in religion.
Mm,
Uh, Everything about my life, I was socialized. If anybody is aware of what socialization is, I was socialized through religion, which means that everything that I knew about life was flavored through the canopy of religion.
mm,
Everything, even my experience with secular life was flavored through religion. So I'm an expert at being religious. Do you understand what I'm
mm.
expert at being religious? And so for me, when I talk about it, I'm talking about a construct that was also used to build my identity as a person. And on that journey, my journey away from that started probably about 40 years ago. So I didn't come out of the journey of religion until recently. when I met that fork in the road. And that fork in the road said, I want you to make a choice whether or not you want to continue in this construct that society has built, or if you want to go into a place of authenticity.
Mm,
And that's what caused me to take the journey that I'm on now. So that's a little bit about me, and my book on spiritually unstuck has to do with that journey. And that journey has some shadow places, some dark places, some extremely uncomfortable places, vulnerable places. And I found myself being very comfortable being vulnerable, extremely comfortable,
mm,
to the point that um, there was no more shame, there was no more judgment, no more conditions to who I am. I just wanted to be alive. And
mm,
so for me, my journey spiritually being unstuck was getting to that fork in the road and making a decision about whether I was going to continue on the road or I was going to remain there in an indecisive condition.
mm.
Yeah.
What kind of person do you think you were before you
Mm.
transitioned, right? Like, what kind of person were you before this? Like, if you remember, yeah, was you shouting and dancing and in the church and tambourine and
Let me
did
tell
you have
you,
a role?
I was I was extremely involved in the church. My family built churches. And even as far as the religious part, I was indulged in shouting, speaking in tongues, and dancing and singing on the
Mm,
choir. I was actually an elder in the church. I traveled speaking, preaching the gospel, doing evangelical work. I did revivals. I have an experience in church, and that experience is not something I discount now that I'm deconstructing who I am and my relationship with the church.
ooh, I'm gonna have to take
So,
some notes.
yeah,
Deconstructing who I am.
yeah,
That's different than deconstructing from religion.
yes. So every experience that we have is a part of our personality. It's a part of our persona. It's a part of what we use to represent ourselves and to give impressions of who we are to people when we meet them. And that is everything that we experience. And to come out of religion or to be in religion, and let me say something about what religion is, because I don't want people to get offended and to think that I'm coming against their practice. I'm not. I'm coming against a construct. I'm coming against a social construct that was designed for society and not people. It was designed for the construction and the maintenance of society. And religion is there to tell us what is sacred and what is profane. And society dictates that through the laws and orders under which religion acts. So for me, I was not just a product of religion, but who I am, who I was, everything about me was my faith. And so for me, it got to a point where I started to feel this deconstruction, this awakening that was happening in me. And I could tell you, I started having, even to the point where I started having out of body experiences, that I started having visions. I was being taken to places that I thought was completely off compared to the religion that I was in. I was in Christianity. My family is Kojic. My family is Bible Way. And so some of them are definitely independent. But my experience um, was so intense that I didn't know anything about who I was because I was too busy trying to build this person that the church says that I needed to be. So for me, religion was not just a practice, it was who I was. And I think many people have lost their identity in religion because so much of religion tells us to lose who we are. When the reality of it is, we're supposed to get to know who we are and to experience life through awareness and mindfulness of who we are. But religion tells us, no, I need you to put on the mind of Christ. I say that without being offensive. It tells you to put off this old man. There is a constant reminder to take something off of who you are. There is something about you being born into a world, but you're not being accepted. You have to be transformed. So there's this constant rejection that comes through religion. And I call that spiritual abuse because so many
Mm.
deal with rejection. They don't need it to come from the church. This is the place where we meet God. This is the place where the most highest and most sacred thing that we're supposed to encounter in our walk in life, this is where we're supposed to understand and have awareness of that. But there is a level and a degree of mental abuse that permeates religion. The church, I'm not even after the church. I'm after religion. I keep going to religion because religion is a canopy. It's a control mechanism. And what happens is every person is born into society and they are socialized into these institutions and into these agencies to keep control of them and to make sure that they act the way society wants them to act. Don't break laws, go to church, understand what is sacred, understand what is profane, do the right thing, don't do the wrong thing. So there's so much that is dictated to us through our socialization process. But religion in itself causes mental health issues. I'm going to give you an example. During the colonization of America, when slaves were brought into this country, they were given religion as a control mechanism to keep them subordinate. And that was born out of a place of superiority because we were told that we were not humans, we were a beast. And so the beast was fed a control mechanism that we call religion. And not only that, but we were also, the Bible was also condensed to a point where they fed us a slave Bible. There is a Bible out called the Slave Bible. And that mentality, that is where the mental health of the average Black person is still happening. I wrote a book called White Crazy is Not Black Crazy.
Tell us
And
more.
that, so for me, why the reason why is because psychology as a discipline did not include the Black race in their experiments, and they did not include the Black race in their theories and in their medicines. The average person that was a part of any type of psychological experience was a college educated white person. And most of the time it was men. And so for the Black person, they were not used in psychological experiments because they were not seen as human beings. And so the mentality of Black people didn't even come into the discipline of psychology until W.E.B. Du Bois wrote The Souls of Black Folks. And he started talking about double consciousness. And in the process of talking about double consciousness, he talked about how the Black person often walks around with a consciousness that he has of himself and a consciousness that he carries of his master has of him. And the church has taken on that same mentality. And so the average person cannot does not have any independence in the church. They don't have independent thinking. They cannot find God on their own. They cannot determine how to live their life. Everything is fed to them. And so religion is a continuous feeding system, and it hasn't stopped. The church, the black race is the biggest supporter of religion. The richest people are not religious people. They're mostly Protestant. They're mostly Protestant and Catholics. I've ministered at one of the biggest Protestant churches here in Baltimore, and every elite person attends that Protestant church.
What do you think is the difference in terms of the psyche or the psychosis that a Protestant would go through versus evangelical, religious, hardcore, Bible thumper, you know, my way, the highway?
From what my experience with Protestants are, they are very secular people. They know how to integrate their beliefs with a balanced lifestyle. So, in other words, if you walk into a Protestant church, you're going to find young people, they're giving messages that transform their life, but they're also given opportunities to travel the world and experience different cultures. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, it's not about an exclusive ideology. Protestants basically built the construct of society through Catholicism, through Protestantism, all of these religions. When you think about them, that's how we got societies. And when what is his name, Constantine, when he decided that he wanted to institutionalize the church to build up his kingdom and his power, he first, as an emperor, decided that he wanted to anoint himself a bishop. And so when he did that, he said, "Now I've anointed myself a bishop. I'm the bishop now. Now, what I want you guys to do is I want you to go in a room and I want you to put together a book. And in that book, I want you to ensure that the people that are under my rule find access to this book and live according to it. But I'm going to dictate to them how that book is supposed to be interpreted."
Pastors.
Pastors, leaders,
Yeah.
uh, institutions. Um, it's so much. It's so intricate that it's very difficult to understand what truly is sacred and what is truly profane. But right now, all the things that we consider sacred and profane is based on a society that we live in. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
religion doesn't really dictate to you what is sacred and profane. Society does. Because I'm going to tell you, let your church or any religious organization break the law. If they break the law, they're going to find that they are bound by the law because society owns every institution that functions within its parameters. So as long as you are not breaking the law, as long as you are doing the law, obeying what society has set up, you can go as far and as deep as you want with your religion. But society has a way of ensuring you that it is in control. So, what I'm saying in all of this is this: who we are as people and who we are, how we present ourselves, has everything to do with who we believe we are. And religion or spirituality, even anything that we consider sacred and profane, has an effect on who we are and how we experience life. Because nobody wants to experience life if they are operating in something that is profane, because society has put sanctions out there to let us know, wait, you that's not something that's acceptable. And so we can do formal sanctions where we can break the law and go to prison for practicing certain things or breaking certain laws, and They tried to cover us by saying, well, if you do it within the parameters of your religion, you have some protection under the Constitution. But the reality is that is the law of the land. And so we have to, I want to, um, I want to deconstruct who religion has made me to be. I don't want to deconstruct religion. It cannot be done because it's an institution in society. But we have to deconstruct religion from within. And so anything that is that you do not have the ability or you don't feel empowered to change is controlling you. You
Mm.
should be able to design who you are and who you're supposed to be and the experience that you're supposed to have in this life. You have been empowered to design that. Even the Bible says to work out your own soul salvation. Yes, do it with fear and trembling. But what is the fear and trembling? The fear and trembling is that you don't lose who you are. Don't lose your authenticity. Be authentically you in your practice. If you want to be religious, but be authentic. I would never tell a person to leave the church because the church has some positivity to it. It keeps society going. It allows people to find ways to interact with one another. You know, don't kill your brother. That's under religion. Don't hate your brother. That's under religion. Don't mistreat your family. We're not learning these in the school system or the medical system or the political system or even the mental health system. This is mental health month, but the average person in the church don't even know what mental health is.
What is
Has
it?
no idea. You know why? Because when we grew up, the pastor was everything. He was the mental health therapist, he was the family counselor, he was the relationship counselor. And I even experienced this, Malachi, where I was dating someone and the deacon brought us before the church and said, they're too young to be so in love. This is out of order. This is out of the will of God, basically. And so the church said, no, you can't be this in love. I
Mm,
grew up wearing cotton stockings, couldn't
mm.
put on open toe shoes. I mean, had to wear, couldn't wear open toe shoes. We covered our hair, we covered our laps. We couldn't wear makeup, jewelry,
Wow.
watches,
Do
pants.
you think those constructs also, like, because religion is deeply tied to us as a human species. It's 100% tied to America, right? As
Absolutely.
America.
Yes.
And I mean, and then if we go to the next level in that construct, it's
Mhm.
like we doing things because we've been doing things,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
and so all these people are under this influence, right? This deep influence, almost close to a spell, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at here just so people, you brought this up and I think it's so interesting. I think people should actually see it, right? Look at that. The
Yes.
the Negro Bible, the slave Bible, select parts of the Holy Bible selected for the Negro slaves, right?
It was used
Just
as a tool of socialization. Go ahead.
it's amazing though. It's amazing though, just what is right in our face. It's
Mhm.
right in our face. And we tend to run or we tend to hide from it. Guys, I would like to just interrupt just quickly to let you know that we have a special guest here, and she has her master's in social work, but she
Master's
also
in psychology and
in psychology,
yeah,
social work,
and
and then
bachelor's in sociology,
and your PhD is in
religious philosophy.
And this is not something that was done just to be like, woo, look at this, look at me. This was something that she had in her heart, and she's a disabled veteran.
That's
And
correct.
this is something that her education wasn't a matter of like one upping anyone. This was something that was on her heart. And I
Yeah.
feel like it is her debut. It is her space for it to be let free and open. We have an expert that is renowned in her field, if you will,
Yeah.
that's not fully released, and we're releasing her to this community. We're releasing her everywhere in this atmosphere, right? Because as we're going through all of these situations, and there's people that are really hurting, I'm dealing with a lot of tears, I'm dealing with a lot of pain when it
Yes.
comes to mental health
Yeah.
and mental illness. Mental health, get me if I'm wrong, doctor, if mental health is something we all deal with or we all may have, it can be
Yeah.
behaviors, it's just having a conversation about mental health. And the thing about mental illnesses or clinical issues that would be marked in uh, the documented books for specialists, psychologists, and psychiatrists, and so on,
Mhm.
is like schizophrenia, right? Yeah, depression, of course, is something that a lot of people, or pretty much everyone, which even stress is a part of this. And this
Yeah.
is all
Yeah.
affecting the brain.
Right.
That
Right.
it's all fairly new, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
this is nothing that we have had the discussion with, and all of it is related to consciousness,
That's
right?
correct.
It's all
That's
related
correct.
to what we are being aware of. So we have a
That's correct.
specialist in the room with us, and it's beautiful. I want to definitely let you keep going. One of the things about religion is deeply tied to the construct of our democracy,
That is
of
correct.
our country.
That is correct.
And the thing that separating religion from spirituality, and she's
Yes.
helping me with some of my stuff for my writings, because I really have a desire to really get a little deeper with spirituality, spiritual, right? Because
Yes.
of the fact that I think as we separate these entities within who we are, we can get a better understanding of, we can get a way better understanding of saying like, oh, so whenever I have a gut feeling, I don't have to say it's the Holy Spirit. Right. Oh, it's
Right.
like, because the Holy Spirit, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll tell somebody to their face. Like, when you say Holy Spirit, it's limiting, because the Holy Spirit is limited into one construct, even though you can relate to Holy Spirit outside of the Bible. When we
Right.
say spirit, right?
Right.
Holy
Right.
Spirit is, or the Holy Ghost is something that is strictly tied to, Holy Ghost is tied to Pentecostalism, right?
Right.
But that
Yeah.
Holy Spirit and the whole, all that's in the book of Acts, it's all related to magic, which I
Yeah.
don't want to go. I mean, honestly, it's like when you get deeper. But going back to what there were some things that you had said that, because I would like for people this evening to leave better than they came. And you said something about
Yeah.
deconstructing myself. I haven't heard much. It's like we hear about deconstruction. We hear
Right.
about like deconstructing religion.
Right.
But
Right.
to deconstruct yourself is deeper, may I say, than
Absolutely.
deeper than deconstructing religion.
That is correct. That's right.
Because mental blocks, if
Yeah.
as a success coach, mindfulness coach, dealing with,
Mhm.
I deal more with people with issues with finding themselves, and they're entrepreneur and they already have money or something, right? And they
Right.
want to actually find themselves, or they want to feel better about themselves. And so um, that's still a deconstructing process,
Right.
going
Right.
within, looking at different things. What are your practices? What are you doing in your life to actually connect to this life? Religion adds such a huge layer. And not only that, it makes it really difficult to pull it off of us, right? And
Yeah.
and come out. So you're spiritually, um the book. spiritually unstuck, right?
Yes.
Well, I
Mhm.
mean, the holistic life balance. Some people are ordering your book on Amazon, and I'm like, we might need to put a kit together, right? With 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 certain books, and then you'll
Yeah,
assign them. But we'll get to that, the
yeah.
5 steps of enjoying being alive. But what I want to go back and tap into, because you got so much richness, and I want you to get a little bit into, because we got spiritual abuse, right? Which you got
Yes.
deconstructing, we got religion itself,
Mhm.
deconstructing not just the religion side of us, and then we were deconstructing other constructs, right,
Right,
within
right,
us. But this spiritual abuse, can you
right.
can we double click and go a little deeper into what you feel a spiritual abuse is, and what does that mean to you? Just, you can just roll with it. I don't need a definition.
So, years ago, part of my journey of deconstructing myself, I read a book called Spiritual Abuse. I can't seem to find the author of the book at this point, but spiritual abuse happens when someone uses spiritual or religious beliefs to hurt, scare, or control you. And I'm reading you a Google definition. It can involve someone forcing you or your children to participate in spiritual or religious practices when you don't want to. Well, how do you know if you want to if you were never given an opportunity to choose to? And so spiritual abuse is not just about someone physically abusing you. I was in a ministry, and let me just give you this example. I was in this ministry, and the pastor would call the children up in front of the church. And if the children didn't say what the pastor wanted them to say, the father would come up with a belt in his hand. And with the belt in his hand, he would demand that the children say what the pastor or the father wanted them to say. That's spiritual abuse. You cannot use religion to manipulate and control people because you have an agenda.
Mm,
True religion and undefiled is to what? Love your brother, love your neighbor. There is a part of religion that is undefiled, but you have to come out of the construct to have an experience with it. So spiritual abuse can happen in so many ways. When I was in the comment section um, of this expanded consciousness a few weeks back, I was reading some of the comments, and there were people in the comment section who were struggling so bad with spiritual abuse from family members because the family did not accept their decision to leave the church, or the family did not accept the choices or the road that they were deciding to go because the family wanted them to remain in the tradition, okay, in the practices and rituals and doctrines that were handed down to them. And so spiritual abuse can cause people to not have to not have a healthy experience with themselves and who
mm,
they are. So when if we're all of our life trying to please God, but we don't even know who God is,
mm,
because God is the pastor, right? Or God is the church, because you have never experienced God outside of that construct. You have no idea. When I went on my spiritual journey, one of the things I had to face was complete, unadulterated uncertainty. That meant that I had to get to know God outside of what I was told about God. That meant that I had to now become my own pastor. I had to become my own missionary. I had to become my own evangelist. I had to become my own researcher. I had to become my own adjutant.
Mm.
my own deacon. I had to become all of that in order to find out now that I am no longer under the spell of religion. Now I have to walk this walk in a new way. And that meant that everybody wasn't going to like me in this place. Family wasn't going to like me. Friends wasn't going to like me. Every person that I interacted with is a part of the church. So, in my spiritual journey of uncertainty, I had to find ways to reconstruct my reality around life. Religion is not everything. You have a life outside of that, or you should, but I didn't. I had everything that I did was done through the church. My thoughts, my ideas, my goals, my purpose, my vision, anything that I wanted to do in life, I had to check with the church first. Is this acceptable? Is this going to keep me out of hell? If I decide I want to become a reporter, how does that fit in with God's plan, the divine plan for humanity? If I wanted to go into the military, I understand killing, thou shalt not kill, but the church kills every day. The letter killeth, but the spirit gives life. So we're under killers all day long. So going into the military was a hard thing for my mind to comprehend, but I pushed myself. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to live this beautiful life that God has given me, I've got to know what it is. That means I have to come out of the four walls of the church, not just to evangelize, and to convert people, but I need to know what life is. What am I experiencing? Why was I born? Why did I enter into this construct, this dimension? What is my purpose? What is my authentic person? Who am I? Who am I apart from being either a saint or a sinner? What is the in between point? So we have to deconstruct to find a place of authenticity. And that is has been my journey, is to find authenticity. Once I find out who I am and what my purpose is, I can fit everything else in their slots. I can fit religion in if I want to, because I think religion undefiled, it's okay if that's what you need to help put some control mechanism in your life. If you can't decide how to act, do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't know how to not kill, steal, destroy, mess with your neighbor's wife, all of those 10 commandments, if you don't know how to do that, then you need religion to help you. It's a mechanism of control. It's no different than going to AA if you don't know how to stop drinking or to control your addictions. There is a construct in society to help sanction and control our behavior. Religion controls behavior, and behavior is sanctioned as normal or abnormal. One of the things I learned in psychology is that everybody is abnormal. Everybody is mentally ill. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has some abnormality in their mind and their cognition that does not fit in with the let's say with the fads that we go through in society. You can tell because people are constantly being canceled. Why? Because society says that you have to fit in this mold to be accepted. And if not, then you are abnormal. Now, I'm not talking about people who have mental health issues where they have severe, I look at it as not having control of your behavior. Something in your body is off that is causing you not to be able to control how you behave or how you experience your life. And so you need some help. But mental illness is a cognition problem. It's a lack of consciousness. We're walking around unconscious, constantly unconscious. To be unconscious is to be mentally ill. That's where shadows come from. Shadows come from those places that we hide and say, you know what? I don't want anybody to see this part of me. And in the process of you not accepting your whole person, the good, the bad, and the ugly, your mind creates a shadow self. And that shadow self hides in the background and it pops up at the most inopportune moments. You can be talking to a friend, and all of a sudden, the little shadow will pop up and say, you know what? Here I am. Here I am. I'm the part of you that you hid and don't want nobody to see. It might come out in anger. It might come out in abuse. It might come out in rejection. It might come out in low self esteem, but the shadow will surface. So, religion has a way of causing you to tap down your shadow self. You know, sin is unacceptable. What is sin? According to the scripture, sin is unrighteousness, all unrighteousness, not in right standing. We say not in right standing with God, but my thing is, we're not even in right standing with ourselves. How are we going to be in right standing with God? How is that possible? If you can't even be in good standing with yourself or with your neighbor. So I feel like I'm all over the place, but the reality of it is that if we're going to have a productive spiritual experience in this dimension, we've got to become authentic beings, not authentic persons, authentic beings.
Let's double click into that. Authentic beings. What's an authentic being?
An authentic being is someone who understands themselves holistically. They understand themselves body, soul, and spirit. They understand that in order to have an experience, they have to be balanced in every area of their life. You cannot be too spiritual and you cannot be too healthy and you cannot be too physical. You need to have a balance. If your spirit is overshadowing your body and your body is being tapped down, you're not holistically healthy. You have to have balance. There has to be some balance in your life. In other words, let's say if you decide that you go to church every day, right? But you don't take care of your health, or you're so healthy that you don't take care of your spirit, or you're so spiritual that you don't take care of your body. There has to be a holistic mindset in order to be an authentic being. We have to understand that we need all of it. We need our body, soul, and our spirit. It is a body system. It is not just one body, it's a system that has to work cohesively together. We are a body system. We are a body, a soul, and a spirit. And as a system, when they work together, we are an authentic being.
I think with religious trauma, with deconstructing who you are, i.e., especially when it comes to your spiritual self, while you go through those practices, while you go through the deconstructing, or you begin to connect to the reason why a lot of people are even here on this live is I think we all have had some experiences. There's probably very few people that are brand new in their experience of this life. And being an authentic being, the divine, I say authentic self. And that is one of the biggest thing is going through this process, but not letting it stay silent. If you have to let somebody know, not as a mission, not as a calling to win souls, but as a freedom, right? you being free and you been released. All these, I want to just thank you for allowing Spirit to um, guide you and use you and be a vessel. And then you hear the call to use your talents and ability and like write. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for the books that I've read, if it wasn't for the
Exactly.
videos that
That's
I
right.
watch. I watch a lot of videos, and it makes me feel good. And one of the things is, I think we talked before, and we were talking about how religion is can be addictive, and it can people can
Absolutely.
have kind of some whether it would be dopamine or it's like they can be addicted to, oh my god, I'm not at church, and oh my god, I'm not going to be at church, and you know
That's right. Right.
and they just be thrown off. And that's one thing I'm grateful for, having community, even for myself,
Right.
is being able to have community. I met Miss Dorothy via the web,
Yeah.
and we really got connected. You remember when we really got connected?
When I think it was when you made me a monitor, right? I was
Man,
shocked.
yeah,
You made me a monitor, and let me say this: I love Bishop Pearson. Um, his book. Um, what's the name of his book? Tell me his book again.
gospel of
That's
inclusion,
a
or
gospel.
yeah,
I had
go
a
ahead.
brain fog just for a second, but his book, Gospel of Inclusion, brought me through that period that was so dark. And I want to share this. I think this is going to be very important to the audience. Many of us are on a journey, and we are on a journey um, towards authenticity. But on this journey, there's going to be some times where you are going to be alone. I've seen so many people saying that, oh, when I left the church, I lost family, I lost friends. Well, you didn't, because you were lost. You were already lost. You were lost in a system that you could not find who you were. And so when I left, I felt such an addiction. I was afraid. I was like, how am I going to even live without the padding and the safety of the construct of the religious canopy I was raised under? What does it even mean to live outside of religion? How can I function? How can I build relationships? Because my entire thinking is based in the system. But what I decided was I was going to face uncertainty. I was going to embrace uncertainty. I was going to embrace a new understanding of what God meant to me. I was going to embrace a new reality of how I am supposed to love. I did not want anyone to dictate to me how to love anymore. Don't tell me you love me because Christ loves me. That is not what I needed to hear. I needed to understand and embrace a reality that I can identify with authentically. And I could not do that under religion because it was so much noise. Religion is noisy. It's very, very noisy. It is a constant barrage of information, of orders, of controls, of rules, of regulations. It is constant. And so, in order for you to get connected to yourself and connected to a place of consciousness, you have to get quiet. You have to get quiet. You have to embrace uncertainty. This is where God is. I can quote so many scriptures about how God talked about living and walking in the darkness. God created evil. I created evil, saith God. So all of the duality that we're dealing with It's all in the construct. And so, if we're going to really have an experience as cosmic, as authentic beings, we have to embrace the dimension. We cannot just embrace the constructs. We have to embrace the dimensions that we live in because it feeds the energy of who we are. I don't care how religious I am, I cannot go outside and be in the presence of another person and not be impacted or affected by their energy. We're all in the same dimension, having the same experience. One of my mottos is I am life having an experience as Dorothy. And only I can give life that experience. And that changed my life. It changed how I embraced life because I knew that I was giving life an experience that no one else could give it. And that's a whole nother teaching, Malachi. That's a that's a whole nother teaching when you start talking about teaching life how to live.
Mm,
That's
mm,
that's a whole nother experience.
mm.
Teaching life how to live. Because well, yeah, that's a whole nother.
You you have taken so much of who you are and you have placed it in pages.
Yes, I
It's
have.
going to be along. It's going to tell a story. And you've
Right.
placed it in pages. And I believe you have a gift and ability to help individual people. Like you've had some clients and things of that nature
Yes.
within
Yes.
your social work, if you will, and
Yes. I've
church
counseled
work,
a lot
therapy
of people.
work, counseling.
Yes. Yes.
Within what's some of those what's some of those things, the breakthroughs, the things that people came with, and what do you think is helping people having a breakthrough?
The average person that I've talked to and counseled wants to be acknowledged. There is so much that covers up who we are. Every one of us play roles every day in our life. We get up in the morning, we dress for the act. We dress for what we are about to encounter for that day. If we're a doctor, we dress for the doctor because that's a role we're about to take on. And so, what I find is that the average person that is experiencing any type of issue in their life is because they are dealing with role strain. They don't know who they are from one minute to the next. The average person comes home and does not take off that role that they've been playing all day long. They continue the play. They come home, they are now either a spouse, a mother, a father, a sister, or a brother. And say, so they keep these roles going and they never go like an actor does to the backstage and take off the costume. And so when I counsel people, most of the time, the people that I talk to are struggling with understanding who they are and why they're having the experiences that they're having, especially in church, because church promises you such a pie in the sky mentality that people are having cognitive strain or cognitive dissonance because they cannot understand why they're doing everything they're supposed to do religiously, but then their life is in shambles. Wives are being beaten by pastor husbands. Children are being abused by pastors, by family members who are church people. People are having relationships outside of their marriages. There's so much deception. People are stealing because people don't know what to do outside of religion. They have no outlet. And so they get caught in the construct, and the shadows start coming out because they have been told all this time, oh, you have been saved, you have been gospel, like the gospel of inclusion says, everybody has been saved, once saved, always saved. Well, what is being saved? What are we being saved from? We're being saved from ourselves according to religion. But why do you need to be saved from yourself? You are the safest person you could ever be around when you know who you are. So people that I have counseled have been abusers. They have been thieves. They have had sexual disorders. They have had relationships outside of their marriages. They have had wars with their parents. Some people are just mentally damaged from being rejected at birth by parents. People don't know how to get through these mental, stagnant, mental stuck processes that they're experiencing. And so the average person that I counsel has always been someone who is fundamentally acquainted with religion. And so if this is the product and this is what is being sold, what makes this product any different than any other product that we buy, use, and throw away? So for me, counseling entails a lot about allowing people to touch the person that they are, that so many other places that they deal with in their life do not allow them to touch. You are not who you are when you go to work every day. You go to work, you, like I said, if you're a doctor, then you take on the role of a doctor. If you are a teacher, you take on the role of a teacher. And we get caught in these roles. And when we come home, we're still playing the roles. And some of us do it so much that we don't know how to be anything else. Our spouse would tell us, when you know you're not even a husband anymore, or you're not even a wife anymore, or you're not a mother anymore. Where's my mother? Where's my sister? Where's my brother? So, religion is something that I think we have to come to terms with, um, and realize that it is a construct for control. It is not an avenue to God. It is
Mm,
not an avenue to
a
God.
construct of control and not an avenue to God, but we play the role like it is the avenue to God.
Religion owns God.
Mm,
Religion owns God. Religion, spirituality, they own, all of these constructs own God. When you are born, you are taught about God, how you're supposed to think about God, how you're supposed to interact with God, who God is, what color is God? Is God a male? Is God a female? Everything that you know about God, you've been socialized to believe. And so we lose our authenticity, we lose our intuition, we lose our divine connection. And so God can't even get through the noise to tell us who he is or who it is or what it is, because there's so much noise. So much noise.
woo! How does it feel?
This feels good. Um, it feels good to talk to you. Every time I talk to you, Malachi, I am encouraged. You have been such an encouragement in my life because I am once I get to talking, I can run my mouth, but it's getting me to the point where I will talk. And you have been such a catalyst in helping me embrace who I am and what I can offer to society and humanity. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for the audience. I love being in the comment section, um, going talking back and forth with everybody. And I know we're a small group, but we're a powerful group if we can expand our consciousness to believe that about ourselves.
Mm. I love, being around Bishop. He was always around big numbers.
Yeah,
And even when we would be have his show and he can have 1,000 people in there, and it was cool, but he had done so much in
right.
his life. And my thing is like I really love impacting, or the impact of people in this moment, in this hour, right? Especially when it's impacting, and because a lot of times, especially with church and religion, it's like you get the if you get the lights and you get the music and you get all the things that make it feel good,
Right.
you can actually easily lead people into this and they have no idea about the depth of the structure.
Exactly.
I've struggled with my 13-year-old daughter loving to go to Transformation Michael Todd's, and of course she's
Yeah.
been with my sister, but people, but it's like, why do you struggle with this? It's like, because on the surface, it's cool.
Right.
But beneath the surface, if you keep carrying on and you keep hearing this, in the body of Christ, it's like this. And if it's, and a lot of things are just very in these constructs. It's like outside of the church, it's God is, but yet though you put everything that you're talking about constricted into what you're doing in this space. Churches do it, all of them do it. I'm not calling just that particular place out,
Right.
but it's like the last thing I seen was they had a baptism, and it was just for me, it was like, God, at least if you're gonna do the baptism, it would be sacred, and you know what I mean, some kind of processes, or some kind of like something that has meaning versus is like fast food. Like, this is fast food religion, fast food church. Like, we're just gonna go and just throw it together. And I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, like I'm moving in more of a within my spirit now. I'm moving in more of a sacred space. More
Yes.
of a. I've been going out there to this monastery, and it's a thing to take off your shoes and you go in this place, and these individuals have just poured their heart into this space.
Yeah.
And not just pour their heart, they actually left something. Like, you're leaving something here. And so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful to have everyone here. It's beautiful to have you,
Thank
right?
you so much.
The the are how many books are available on Amazon?
All the ones that you have in your hand, all of those are
Okay.
there.
So Miss
Uh,
Dorothy Parker is the name.
Yep, that's me.
Um if you want, well, mine's are signed copies. Do
Absolutely.
that. Signed copies.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you have any. If anyone wants anything signed, they buy it directly from you. Um,
Yes, I can. I have a hard copy here as well
oh
because I
yeah,
know people like
that's
hard
beautiful. That's
copies.
this one.
Yeah, I sent. I
This
think did I send you a hard copy too? I
no,
just sent you a
but
soft
it's
copy.
cool. I like this. Tell me
Yeah,
just on that particular book. We
yeah,
can. Uh, Here's one. This has got some military when coming home. When soldiers come
yes,
home, you're giving books away to
correct.
soldiers, right?
Yep,
We have
I
a
am a soldier.
dialogue across the generations.
Yes,
Uh, Finding strength within.
that's the bullying book that I wrote for young people. It
This is
teaches
a
you about
bullying
bullying.
book.
I
Yeah.
wrote that for Anti-Bullying Month.
The deep the deep dialogue. Real quick,
Exactly.
what's deep dialogue?
So, Deep Dialogue is a journal that I wrote. And I wrote that because people don't know how to have deep dialogue. People talk from the surface all the time. And so I created some cards to go along with the journal. to help prompt deep dialogue with yourself and with others. So I have cards where you can play this as a game where you can have deep dialogue. There are categories like life, death, religion, spirituality, finances, love, hate, anger, anything, happiness, joy, peace. There's a lot of there's a lot of questions on the cards that go deep on those topics. And when you could play that as a game or you can use it in private with the journal. So, yeah.
Deep dialogue. I got I did a lot of that in um, getting my certified coaching from. I did a pretty vigorous, which is ICF, International Coaching Federation. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of processes and approvals if you depend on how far you want to go and deep dialogue. But really, a lot of it was deep listening.
Yes, that's a part of deep dialogue.
Yeah, deep listening, and so you're hearing words that people say, not looking for responses. You
Yeah.
know, to what people say. Um, spiritual, how to get spiritually unstuck. Right. This
Yeah.
is
That's
this
my
is
journey.
a this is your journey.
That's my personal testimony of coming through the dark places. I'm talking about I've had 3 near-death experiences. I've had some trances. I've had some interactions with some of the most darkest places in my life. My health was terrible. I actually had brain surgery, and I didn't tell you that. But I had so much, and I believe it was all the result of the journey that I was taking. It was
Yeah.
taking a toll on my body. You cannot have a authentic, genuine journey, and it doesn't affect your health. And so that book talks about my spiritual journey, about when I was stuck. And I'm talking, I was in some dark places. I'm very vulnerable in that book. Um, I'm expressing some things that how I used to tremble with fear coming out of the church, trembling in fear,
What
uncertain of whether or not um, my life or the journey that I was taking was going to lead me on a path that wasn't a heaven or hell path.
mm,
I was trembling with fear over being living a life without God because I thought that if I left religion, I was leaving God. And I lost relationships. I lost a marriage of 15 years over my choice to leave church because I was told in that marriage that if I left the church, that I was violating the marriage. And I thought I was married to a person, not the church. But comes to find out, I was married to the church. And when I no longer want to be married to the church, then I lost my husband. And so my experiences go deep. The web is deep when it comes to my experience with religion. My health suffered severely to the point where I had my sister came over to take care of me. She bathed me. She made sure that I was okay. I'm telling you, this path is not a path for the faint of heart. You can't just jump out here and say, "Oh, I'm no longer going to be religious. I'm leaving the church." There is a journey and a process of deconstructing the self that has been created by religion. And so for me, I am so much better.
mm,
I had a mind shift that took 10 years to process.
wow.
And I just did a podcast on mind shift mastery, on what mind shifts are and how to master them when they happen. Because when you have a mind shift, you have to pay attention to it. It will transform you consciously, but it could be a 10-year process of
Wow.
transformation.
Where's that podcast?
It is on everywhere podcasts are. It's on
Available.
Apple. Yeah, that's thank you, Malachi. Because
What's the name?
it is it is Mind Shifts, and um it is on Spotify. It is on here is the I don't know if you guys can see this.
Mind shift mastery.
Yes.
All right, mind shift mastery. I'm gonna post that so people can see it. You will see her. You'll see her
My
mind
picture on
shift
here.
mastery. I got it right there. You guys, everybody that has this tuned into this, let's everybody go. Let's everybody right now. If you got an Apple, you could go to podcasts. If it's where
Yes.
if
Spotify,
it's
you
on
can go
Spotify. So let's
Podbean.
here's the biggest one. If you got an Apple, let's go to Apple on your phone and type in
Where's the
podcast.
Apple? Wait, Apple.
So you type in podcast on your phone, and let's go to Mind Shift. Let's go to it.
Yeah, I think you can type in Mindshift Mastery, and I think that podcast might show up. I'm not sure if it will, but I just did this episode on Monday. I need to make a vulnerable confession here.
Mhm.
What has taken me so long to do this, Malachi, is I don't like my voice.
Well,
And
that's not
it's,
well right now. That's not up to you.
and you're right, but that is one of my vulnerable places is
It's understandable.
I don't like my voice. I do okay live, but if I'm not my
Um,
voice,
no,
it's just weird.
there's a psychology. There's a psychology to that. Honestly, like there's
Okay.
something, and honestly, like the psychology has to do more with um you see yourself. No, you don't see yourself, right? You only
Right.
see yourself in a mirror.
Right.
Everyone else sees you. You don't hear yourself technically until you
Yeah.
record it and you play it back.
Right.
Right. And there's
Yeah.
something to do with your brain and your mind that you have to kind of like bypass it because you're not used to hearing yourself. But there is a psychosis or some kind of psychology related to it. But the
Yeah.
mind shift, and I did that right, is mind shift mastery, right?
Did you find it?
It's not coming up on Apple, but I'm gonna put it on Spotify. What I want everyone to do is once you find that, let me see if people are once you find it, I want you to look.
Ellis says she found it.
It was
Thank
on Amazon.
you. I think is
I,
that Elise, Cynthia. Thank you all so much because I'm not going to kid you. My voice, when I was growing up, my teachers always used to send me to the nurse's office and says, "I think she has a sore throat today. Her voice is kind of hoarse and raspy." So
well, you're supposed to be singing then, so you can, you
I
know,
used to sing my butt off in church. You hear what I'm telling you?
so you don't
Well,
sing anymore.
my son is the professional singer in the family. He travels all over the world singing. He's in the audience. I love you, Jeremy. I love you, Trendy Gent, which is my nephew James, my
Beautiful.
godson.
I
Yeah.
found it on Spotify, and what I want you to do is I want you to follow it, and if you get it on, um, if you get this on either any app, make sure you go give a review. Rate the show like I'm rating the show here because when you
Oh,
rate those shows and you give reviews, it actually helps the algorithms.
yeah,
Um,
it does.
it helps with people being able to. It's so loud out there. It helps with people being able to connect to this.
Also, I don't mean to interrupt you, but do
No,
you
go
know
ahead.
that YouTube has a podcast now? So my podcast, whenever I put a podcast up, it's automatically this is YouTube. It automatically uploads to YouTube. So if you follow me on YouTube, um,
You can get it also.
You can get the podcast, absolutely, because I have 2 YouTube channels. One YouTube channel is where I did interviews, I had family, friends, or whatever. And then this channel that I'm on is one where I first started when YouTube came into existence. So I'm an
Mm.
old school YouTuber. But you can find me on this is my YouTube channel where the podcast is. It's called Mastering Mind Shifts.
And that's on YouTube.
That's on YouTube. So if you can't find the podcast, you'll be able to find it on YouTube because every time a podcast gets uploaded, it automatically goes to YouTube. But this is my channel.
And that's
But
Mastering Mind Shifts. I'm gonna make sure I subscribe. Everybody get on there and subscribe on YouTube. I'm a firm believer in
you are
supporting
such
each
a
other.
supporter. Yeah,
I'm a firm believer in supporting each other,
thank you.
especially when there's so much content out there that is not necessarily helping individuals, but keeping individuals bound. So we have to keep creating content and keep creating things, resources, so
Yeah.
that we can all grow. And we got some comments here, and there are some people that said your voice is beautiful.
Thank
They,
you so much. I appreciate everybody.
yes, absolutely. With
Hey, Ruben, you see me?
here's some people talking about your son, saying he's an amazing singer.
That's my son, Jeremy. Yes.
Yeah, Miss
That's my
Sandra.
baby. Oh, hey, Sandra. Thank you so much. I don't know if he fell asleep or what. He lives in California. So I'm sure after this live is over, he's going to be calling.
Yeah, look, and
That
this
boy
is
wakes me up. Oh, thank you, John. Oh, thank you so
I'm gonna
much.
call you. I love that man.
Thank you,
He
sir.
is
Thank you.
divine. He's an archbishop, but
Oh,
it would be more in the Eastern. And but
okay.
he was the organist for Reverend Ike.
Wow, interesting. It's nice to meet you, sir. Definitely.
He's
He looks like
amazing.
he looks like a bishop that I know, Bishop John Lewis out of Baltimore. Um, I forgot the name of the organization he came out of, but I used to be in his church, be a member of his church. You know what I forgot to mention? That I met President Ronald Reagan. I was invited to the White House as a minister.
Mm.
And this was in 1988. And I'm sharing this. I'm gonna be as brief as possible because I can run my mouth all night. But I had this invitation out of 200 Black ministers across the country. I was one of them, but six of I was one of 6 Black women out of that 200 ministers. We were invited to the White House when President Ronald Reagan was in office. And I had an experience, and I try to share this whenever I talk to people about the dynamics of power. And I had an opportunity to meet the president, and he gave all of us a conversation about how the things are happening in the Black community and what the Black community can do to help support it. It was a lot of stuff. But I was in the room, and when I was in the room, I felt power in the room. And I said, "Oh, this is weird." And I don't know why I'm sharing this, but somebody might need to hear this. But it felt weird in the room. There was so much power. And I heard in my heart, "Do you feel the power in this room?" And I said, "Yes, this okay, I'm talking to myself in the room." And I said, "Yeah, this is powerful. Is this coming from the president of the United States of America?" And I said, "This is a lot of power for one man to have." And I heard in my spirit, the power is not in the man, it's in the position.
Mm.
There will be men that will come and go in this position, but the power will remain in the position. So if we really want power, we have to be in position. I don't know why I wanted to share that, but I thought it was very important to share that.
I'm looking for a mic to drop. This one's kind of, I can't find a mic to drop. The
Thank you, Jeff, for
power.
that. The power is in the position, not in the person. Power does not reside in the people, it resides in positions. And there will be many men who will come and go out of that position.
But getting in position,
Yes,
you
where
have
the
an
power.
opportunity to be in position, but in position, right? And you can
Mhm.
feel the energy, you can feel it
Yeah,
in the space, in the room.
yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I've
Most
never felt power like that ever in my life. It transformed my mind on why there's so much power in politics. It's
I'm
position.
going to take you kind of on a journey, right? And we're going to do
Whew,
something here, right?
wonderful.
We're gonna everyone that's connected to this, we got quite a few people, I guess, on YouTube. You get to watch it on your TV, but in Facebook. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this moment and I just want you to freely speak, right? And I want you to, because I know that of course, meditate and didn't
Yeah,
done
mindfulness.
all of those things like
Yes.
in your life. And I want, just like you felt in your spirit, to speak on what you just did. The power is not in
Person, it's in the position. Your mic went out.
it's not in the person, but it's in the position.
In the position.
So,
I think it's yeah, go ahead.
so what I just want you to do is just, I see these sometimes as prayers, but I also see these as meditations, right? So we can just
Yeah,
I want you to just guide us all for just 3 minutes or so, right? And just let your spirit free, right? It's just you and me and
yeah, okay.
us.
I could do that.
It's just
Yeah,
us. And just be free and just guide us, right?
yeah. So I want to encourage everybody in this moment with everything that we have shared tonight, that you put yourself in position to experience the power of the moment. Release yourself from all the constraints, the ideas, the thoughts, the religion, everything that is cluttering your mind and that is taking power from you. Position yourself so that you hold the power. You hold the power over your life. You hold the power over your circumstances. You hold the power over your expanded consciousness. You have the power to embrace uncertainty and to come out more stabilized and authentic than before you took the journey. Understand that life is not a home, it's a journey. The power is in taking the journey. There's so much scenery on this road, so many distractions, but stay on the journey, stay in the position where you are holding the power over your life, over your circumstances. Love you, as we learned last week. Embrace yourself, hug yourself, tell yourself that you're okay. Tell yourself that you are not your religion. Tell yourself that you are not a sinner. You're not even a saint. You are an authentic being made in the divine image of God. You are because you're here.
Breath is life.
Yes.
Monitor your breath and just take deeper breaths. I believe that expanding our consciousness is also part of just letting things go, letting it be revealed. Another deep breath in. Honor everyone that's in the sound of our voice. Thank yourself, love yourself, even if it doesn't feel good. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's an old Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono, and it says to thank you, I love you, forgive me.
Yes.
There's one other. But to thank yourself, to forgive yourself, and to love yourself is a process.
Absolutely.
So it is.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Miss Dorothy. This
Yes.
was wonderful. Thank you for when you actually, I was in the middle of the funeral at Transformation, and
Yeah.
there's 11,000 people or so
It's a lot.
watching. And usually it was pretty easy to moderate,
Right.
but you stepped it up and was able to help moderate some of the stuff with during Bishop's funeral services. And so I appreciate you for that. And I think there
Yes.
was, I only knew you as Mind Social back then.
Right. Mine Snap Social.
I Snap Social. Yeah,
I'm still that.
that's what and so I appreciate you for stepping up, stepping in, and who knew that 6 months later or so that we're going to be doing a show. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And she has been of support.
Thank you.
Typically, what I would post the Cash App, but what I want you to do for her is I want it's like you can, if you want the Cash App, we can give the Cash App, but I want you to buy a book. It's something about being an author, and it's something about getting that book out there. And my thing is, if you want more than one book, then we can work something out where you can get some books to give away. Because I
Absolutely.
think some of these, how to get spiritually unstuck, um, I don't, this might be a good giveaway book where
Absolutely.
you can actually give this to someone, because there's going to be a lot of people that go through things, especially whenever they're trying to deconstruct their lives and deconstruct where they are. And I believe, we should be able to support each other. This is another follower here. Most people haven't met, but this is
Wow.
Chad and
Beautiful. Looks
Jelana
like
and
something I've
Walsh.
seen before. Do I have that book?
the imagination code, discover the limitless potential of your imagination.
Get that.
They are followers. They sent me this.
I'm
Uh,
getting that wherever you are.
yeah, I'm gonna have them. They're gonna be coming to Tulsa to visit, and
Wow.
this is their story, and it's a profound story. And there's some, I mean, he has some infidelity, and he's telling his side of loving his wife and infidelity, and she's telling her side, but it
Wow.
kind of
Beautiful.
turns a full
Beautiful.
circle. Some of the chapters are suffering, inner dialogue, emotions, affirmations, self rejection. I mean, he healed people, heal people. They say hurting people hurt people. This is healed people, heal people.
Right. That
That's
is
beautiful.
true.
One
You
of these
get
tracks,
the energy you give out.
write your day. Like, I really believe also in that process of writing. You are a writer, and we talked about it, about you being able to help individuals do some writing too. So
Absolutely. I'm
that's
open.
one thing that I'm really big about community, is that you don't just come here and just, hopefully you find some transformation, but also hopefully you find something to do with your life.
Yeah.
Or something to contribute, maybe write or maybe produce something if possible. But I appreciate you for being here with me
Yes,
and
sir.
connecting. And your books are on Amazon.
Yes, they're all on Amazon.
So under Dorothy W. Parker,
That's correct.
right?
Yes, that's me.
Dorothy W. Parker. You guys go and make sure you leave reviews from the podcast, leave
Mm,
reviews on the books. Reviews are huge. All right. I have,
yes.
we appreciate you so much. I appreciate everyone that's in the room here. Miss Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn, thank you so much.
Yes, yes. You have the Miss Dana.
Thank you, Stana. That's beautiful.
Let's see here. We have oh, there you go. There
Hey,
you
Ruth.
go. There he is, Mr. Rubin.
He's an amazing soul. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
absolutely. Go through some of
I don't
these.
know him. I just know him through the chat.
Yeah, he's in hey, it's the same way with me. I'll have conversations, and we'll get to know Miss Elise.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you so
Uh-oh,
much.
you got a 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Bless you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Sandra. Sandra, I appreciate it. Thank you for loving my son. I always thank people for loving my son.
Miss Dolores.
Thank you, Miss Dolores. You're awesome as well. Thank you.
Miss Velma. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes. Thank you, Velma. That is powerful. Beautiful.
Miss Cynthia.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
I would have loved to have been on a live with him. The man was a master.
Oh,
Had no
absolutely.
words.
Mr. Don Jackson, we got an eye on it.
Thank you for the eye.
Oh, so awesome. We appreciate it. Oh yeah, Miss Dorothy. I mean, sorry, Miss Mother White. Mother White.
Wow,
We
Mother White.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, Mother White's here in Tulsa, and look at there.
Thank you, Mr.
You
Lewis.
had a
Thank
beautiful voice.
Thank you, godson. That's my godson, James. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you.
Awesome. I love that. That was beautiful. Great contribute.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much.
All right. I think that I'll keep going up there, and I know I'll find some more. But anyways, I always like to. Oh yeah, Miss Holly. She's sweet.
Thank you, Miss Holly. I appreciate you so much.
Brother John. Yes, yes, yes. Miss Stana. She says, I just want to
Let's be buddies, Santa. I'm open to being buddies. Malachi knows how to get in touch with me, so I'm open to relationship.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everyone that's on here. Miss Dorothy, you could just hang on as I close this out. And guys, we'll be back next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.